Welcome to H Capital.
Let's race!
Hello and welcome back to H Capital with me, Balqis. So this week we will be discussing on work-life balance, whether it is a myth or not. So with me today we have Aazina Mujahid Lee. She is the legal advisor for Sarawak Energy Berhad. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Balqis, for the introduction. Definitely, it's my pleasure and an honor to be here on the show with you today. And I hope you don't mind indulging me in a little bit of housekeeping. I just have to say a small little disclaimer, legal disclaimer, that the views, opinions, and thoughts that I express here today are that of my own and do not represent any views, opinions, and thoughts of any department which I am currently employed with or previously employed with, nor any companies, organizations, or groups which I am affiliated with.
Thank you for that. Okay, so let's get to the topic. So obviously we're talking about work-life balance. It has been around since the 1800s during the Industrial Revolution. Do you believe that it is a myth or not?
Yes, thank you for the question. I think work-life balance is definitely a very controversial subject matter, which is has been often discussed, and I think even more so now with the pandemic. I believe that, in my own opinion, I think work-life balance is definitely not a myth and very much achievable.
Yeah.
In saying that, I think it is important to determine what's the definition of work-life balance for an individual.
Yeah.
You know, because it differs so much in for every individual and each group.
So my definition of work-life balance might be different from yours.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So you know, I think generally there is that, as long as it's a difference between a distinction between personal life and work life, that is sort of the general point of it. But you know, even for me, throughout my career, it has changed. Work-life balance, the definition of work-life balance has changed throughout my career and throughout the years. So for me, of course, I always strive to have work-life balance, being in a position of quite of an intense position.
Yeah.
But like for example, so I started my journey with a law degree and a Masters of Law. I worked in a law firm in Australia before returning to Malaysia to join the Malaysian judiciary. And so with the Malaysian judiciary, I hold a position as a senior assistant registrar and a magistrate, a first-class magistrate. So those of you who are not in the legal fraternity or know much about the legal fraternity, a first-class magistrate is a subordinate court judge. And so, you know, we hear about 70 to 80% of cases which come to the courts.
Yeah.
And so it's quite intense in that sense that, you know, like every day you're listening to criminal cases. And so work-life balance is very important for me. And at that point in time when I was a first-class magistrate, I was very happy to work all weekdays, and at night I'll write my judgments, you know, so every case you hear you have to write a ruling or a judgment for it. And I was very happy to just have my weekends doing something that I really, really love. I was very passionate about. So I am an avid scuba diver. I come from a family of scuba divers. And so as long as I could go scuba diving on the weekends, that was work-life balance for me.
That was enough, just work and scuba diving.
Scuba diving,
Yeah,
yes,
that was enough,
during that point in time.
Yeah.
And subsequently, I migrated back to Australia in 2014, and then things changed, you know. Unfortunately, I can't reveal my position in Australia due to privacy and confidentiality issues.
Sure.
But while I was in Australia, I think Australia being such a developed country, they are so in tune, and for them, they place so much emphasis on work-life balance.
So it's very different from how we are here, is it?
Well, I do believe there are some companies here which are that way, but maybe because I've not been in such a position, so I can't comment on that.
Yeah.
But what I found was that, they're very, not only do they promote physical health, but also mental health as well. It's important for them. And so, like with my position, I worked only 9 to 5. I didn't have to work overtime. I did not have to work on weekends. So, I finish at 5 every day, and I can, I love cars, so I have a nice little convertible, and I just zoom home, and that's already, for me, that's very distressing as well.
I think it was very similar to me, because when I was working there as well, I think probably I've tried, I was a medical scientist over there, and I've been a medical scientist here. So there was a culture shock, because there everyone comes at 8 and leaves at 5, and then your breaks is like 15 minutes. You kind of like have to follow the tempo, but they never go over. Like it's like, okay, 5, go back, so everybody knows what they're doing. But here it's a bit more lax. But although I do feel like here we kind of connect with each other more. So yes, we achieve work-life balance there, but I feel here we can connect with other people a bit more. So it might be a bit different.
Yes, I probably agree with you as well. Different cultures play a role as well in work-life balance. So with Australia, I after work, I go, we go home. It's so early, so we have time to do so many other things as well.
Right, yes.
Right. So
there's so many things that you can do.
I reach home at 5:30. I love cooking, so I take out like a piece of steak or salmon or seafood, and I can leave it to defrost, and I can just go off and do my Pilates or yoga, or go for a run, or even do some retail therapy, especially on Thursday nights. And you come home, you cook dinner, and you have time to just sort of unwind. And for me, like, ironically, I actually don't watch much TV, even though now I'm going to be on a TV show. I actually like reading, and I love music. So, I play the piano, the violin, and the saxophone. So, that was part of balance for me as well. And on weekends, in Australia, there's so much things which are accessible to us. Isn't it?
That's true.
So, like Brisbane has the Sunshine Coast and the Gold Coast, beautiful beaches, so we get to do a lot of water activities, stand-up paddling, kayaking, jet skiing. I also like the hinterlands, so I do a bit of hiking. I've done
So you've done that, all that?
Yes.
But is it a bit different here?
I guess because now that I've come back into this, so with me coming back, what happened was I came back February last year on a holiday. So I was supposed to be in Malaysia just for 2 months until April, but the pandemic hit in March, and so I wouldn't say I'm stuck, but I was given a beautiful opportunity to spend time with my family here in Malaysia. And so I was very lucky to get a position with Sarawak Energy as a legal advisor under a contract. And coming into that, because I came back straight into a pandemic, we did a lot of work from home. And so my definition of work-life balance changed again. So I'm more acceptable to working odd hours, but having that time with the family. So I may work maybe a bit over time, a couple of hours, but I may be able to have lunch with my family. And for me, I still think that I love that flexibility.
So it's more like work-life integration, because it's like because when you're doing work from home, so you'll be working, but also you get to spend time with your family and then do a bit of work here and there. Do you feel that it's much better to integrate, or do you feel like it's easier to just set a time 8 to 5, and afterwards, please do not talk to me, I'm with my family time? Is it better to have that distinction, or is it better to just integrate?
Well, for me, previously, I thought I always had that concept where, nope, I only want the 9 to 5, like the way I was living in Australia, and I liked that back then, but I didn't have family there. And so when I came back into this and I have family here, I actually do prefer that flexibility.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of, I do not enjoy work-life integration.
Okay.
I kind of like to have that, this is my
Distinction,
time.
yep, yep.
I'll see you guys next Monday. So I
Yep.
kind of prefer that. So I think it's just differ for, it works differently for everybody,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just want to ask you, because obviously work-life balance is not a new concept, right? It has been around since the 1800s, but I feel that back then, it might be, most people, the older generations, they don't particularly pay attention to it. It differs for this generation. So after the break, we're going to talk about how different it is for every generation, how well they perceive work-life balance. But we'll continue after the break. Hello everyone, welcome back to H Capital, where we are talking about work-life balance. So with me again, Aazina, I'm going to ask you whether, is there a generational difference in the perception of work-life balance?
I'm not an expert on this subject matter, but I would, just looking at the current workforce as is, we see so many different generations in it. There's the baby boomers, the Gen X, the millennials. I think definitely the different generations do have their own different attributes and how they perceive work-life balance, and it is quite evident.
Yeah.
As without I can't really, because it's not my expert subject matter. I would just say that I do notice that the more matured generation, they probably prefer an integration of with their work life and their personal life, and if they can achieve that, that's work-life balance for them.
Yeah.
And you find maybe the generation that we're in, I wouldn't put you in the same generation as me.
We're the same generation.
That late 30s heading to 40s generation, where for us, work-life balance is that distinction. The distinction, there's a distinct line between what is work life and what is your personal life. And for us, if we can achieve that, working 9 to 5, we're happy. Being in, we're happy to call that work-life balance.
True.
And then there's probably the younger generations. I would give maybe not even my sister's generation, but the early 20s generation, where they're happy to take on positions which where they can actually have their passion in their work. So if they can do something passionate and call it a job, for them that's work-life balance as well.
For me, I think it comes down, there's this concept of Maslow hierarchy of needs. So basically what it says, at the first layer is you got to have the physiological needs, which is water, food, and then there's security, which is, or work, money. So I think during the older generation, they are more worried about that. I just need to survive, to provide food for my kids. But for us, we have the foundation. I think our parents did a great job at, providing that foundation. So hence why we don't have to worry about that. So we're like, okay, I want to bond with everybody. I want to do, all those things. But I think for the younger generation, since that has already been established, they're more to I want to be creative. I want to be, they aspire to be more. It's just not enough to just have work and not be happy. So right now it's all about mental health. So I think it does make a difference, but probably because the foundation has been laid by our parents and all that. But when it comes to work ethic, I do think it's similar in a way. I don't think the older generations work harder. It's just we kind of want to work smarter, right? There's no right and wrong, I think. Okay, so when we talk about work-life balance, do you feel like companies play a big role in obtaining work-life balance?
Yes, definitely, Balqis. I think companies play the most important role in determining whether there is work-life balance. There's just, for us individually, we may want work-life balance, but if we work for a company that doesn't support or promote work-life balance, then it will be very hard to achieve it. So, our bosses and our leaders in the company, they're basically play this role where we, has this trickle-down effect. If they promote it, then, if the bosses promote it, then the managers will see it, and it'll trickle down effect to the staff as well. So for me, with Sarawak Energy as an example, I see it happening. Sarawak Energy takes, I think, work-life balance and healthy living. They place so much importance on it. So, you know, we have things like we have a medical occupational doctor, and we have counselors and therapists available to the staff.
Yeah.
We have things like healthy living benefits.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an entitlement given to the staff on a yearly basis. And, you know, I also know that we have 1 day a week where we actually we knock off earlier at 4 p.m. and we're given that time to do any other recreational activity, you know, that we want to indulge in.
That's such a great.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's such a great activity. I think every company should kind of adopt that.
Yeah.
I would love to go back at 4.
And you know, the best thing is this, for me, this is the perfect example of leaders leading by example, because, you know, our group CEO, Datuk Syabini Suhaili himself, you see him on Thursday coming down to the field and playing football with the staff, or going to the badminton courts and playing badminton with the staff. And, you know, that's amazing that the chief himself does this. And so there's that, like I said, a trickle-down effect, because everyone sees this, and, you know, he not only wants to promote work-life balance for his staff, but also for himself. Yeah, and we also used to have a 24-hour gym in Menara Sarawak Energy, but with the pandemic now, and we have a new upgraded sports complex. And
so you guys basically have everything.
Yes, I'm very lucky.
You are very lucky.
Yeah, you know, houses a football field, a running track, ping pong tables, multi-purpose halls, badminton court, and how can I forget, a tennis court, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, so I play tennis, so I can't wait for this pandemic to be over so that I can
That's true.
shop that tennis court for myself.
So I kind of get it when you said you prefer work-life integration because of the fact your company have.
Yes.
You know, when they kind of value that and then make an important decision to include balance in work and life, the staff will follow.
Yes.
Like for me also, like in certain companies, there will be some leaders who don't want to do work-life balance. They want their staff to work, and it kind of increase burnout. But it only takes one person to make that change, and you kind of can infect the rest and put an important, you know, an important foot down, saying that, you know, this is it, 5 o'clock, go back, or you know, let's play, let's go outside. So I think that's really good of Sarawak Energy to do that.
Yes. And since you brought that up, I've actually noticed that this was something I personally noticed, because we've talking about how, you know, there's that trickle effect, right, from the bosses. I noticed that there's a lot of positive communication as well going on in the workplace, and I think that helps balance us out as well. So and this I'm a big fan of this, because I noticed it happen, you know, via emails. So there was once, I'll just made a comment about this another department where our general manager from the tax and treasury department, Mr. Christopher Tan, and even the manager of the GCEO office, you know, Abang Muhammad Houdini, I've seen them send out emails. It may have been a bit over their work hours, but they actually sent an email that says, you know, I am conscious that I've sent this after work hours, so please don't feel obliged to, you know, reply immediately, you know, because they could have taken that step of working that time, but they don't expect you to. And I really love that.
Yeah, because like without that, I think a lot of the staff would think like, oh, I have to reply now.
I must reply, yes.
Because I think not a lot of people can just turn it off. They're a bit worried about the repercussion if you don't reply and all that, right?
Yes.
I think that's a good exercise for them to do it.
And I've only seen this in Sarawak Energy, so yes, that's very impressive. And and I think that shows a lot about the company.
Well done, Sarawak Energy, well done. Anyway, do you have any takeaway message to our viewers on the importance of work-life balance?
I think definitely if you are able to, I mean, not everyone is able to achieve it. Some of us, we don't have it in ourselves to maybe balance things out that way. You know, not everyone is built the same way. But definitely, if you are feeling that you are unable to achieve this and you're starting to get stressed and depressed, do try and reach out. You know, reach out to family, reach out to your loved ones, reach out to your friends, your colleagues. You know, if you can't do this, maybe reach out to a medical professional.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's also this mental health association in Sarawak. They're the MHA. They are a non-profit, non-governmental organization, and they give free counseling, and I think they give us mental health support as well. So, you know, you can Google and check their website. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they give up to 4 free counseling sessions.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so, you know, if you feel you can't talk to your family and friends or medical profession, you know, try and reach out for that help. And try and
try to achieve it.
Yes,
Just try to achieve it.
You know, if you can't, even small things like if you enjoy cooking, you enjoy dancing, you know,
just do it.
Yeah, just try, reach out in any way possible, you know. I think there's always people out there who want to try and help you as well. If you are the one being reached out to, be kind, you know. We're all in this storm together, you know. Let's, you know, try and ride it out. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much, Aazina, for being here. I love talking to you. Unfortunately, we do not have enough time. But yeah, thanks so much for being around and talking about important topics like work-life balance. And I do enjoy talking to you.
Thank you, Balqis.
Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you again next week. So I think I have a pretty good work ethic. I believe I'm a good employee and I always prioritize work. And I do struggle with finding balance between work and life. But I don't think work-life balance is an achievement. I believe it's a cycle that we always have to make adjustment. So we have to remember that we are in charge of our life. So nobody else is going to, you know, design your life for you. So you got to make sure what is your priority. If working is something that you love doing, if you value money above all, then you should own it. You don't have to be ashamed of it. If your family is a priority, then we got to make adjustment to make sure that family is still a priority for us. So it's making sure that you are happy with the choices that you make at the end of the day. So I do hope you enjoyed this episode. Do let me know if work-life balance is something that we can achieve. It is still a debate amongst a lot of people. But thanks for joining us, and I hope to see you again next week.